Hi guys, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. Before I get started, I wanted to tell all of you that I do have two blogs. One is themodernsurvivalist.com, which has a forum as well, which is good for back and forth conversations with the readers as well. And another one that is fairfile.blogspot.com, which is another blog that's my older one, and it's the same content in both of them. The reason I'm saying it is because I got an email from someone in Iraq that was commenting that he sometimes has problems with one forum or another, or one website or another, and maybe one of them doesn't work for him or for you, but the other one may. So just keep that in mind. If one of them isn't working for you, or there's a problem that I have with a host or something, you do have the other one, so as to keep reading the information that I post. I also have a book, which is the Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse, which covers many of the topics that I do videos about and I've written about in the blog. What happened in Argentina, home security, vehicles, gear in general, self-defense, fighting with firearms, different weapons, a ton of stuff. And I'm really not a good writer, honestly. English is my second language and writing isn't my thing. It is just a method of sending and getting that information, that experience to you guys, what I've learned through personal experience and from doing this for many years, learning a lot. So it's not great English, but it is indeed what it says it is. It is a good survival manual for an economic collapse or urban survival in general as well. I have no doubt that if that's what you're looking for, it will be pretty useful for you. If not, there's the blog as well, where there's a ton of information. The blogs, my blogs, sure aren't pretty or anything, but the amount of information there, it's huge. Just check on the different topics and look what you're interested in. I'm sure you'll find an article that it will be good for you. So back on the purpose of this video. My previous video was how do homestead attacks go down. I explained what happened to a friend of mine in his farm, actually, how they moved in, took control of one of the buildings, took hostages, moved to the next one, and then to the next one, and that way took control of the entire estate. Doing that way, the farm is not within easy reach of the main highway by any means. You have to know the place to get there. Actually, the final road, you actually need a 4x4 vehicle to get there for a few miles. So it's by no means an easy place to get to. Still, he got attacked and they robbed lots of stuff from him. So a few of the questions that got asked after this video. This video actually got like 3,000 views, which is pretty good. So I suppose people are interested in this sort of stuff. What time did this happen? 6 p.m. 6 p.m. give or take. That's the time when the activity in the farm started finishing, and I think it's a good time for an attack because people are already tired from a hard day's work. They're starting to shut everything down, stop the activities. So it's a good time for criminals to do their thing in this type of location. If it had happened, we've been talking about a home invasion in the city, it would have been different. It probably would have been taking advantage of the windows of opportunities created by either exiting or entering the house, maybe when taking the kids to school or leaving for work, or coming back home from work or coming back home from school, when the attack would occur faster, just pushing inside the people at gunpoint and attracting the less amount of attention. So today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about home security, how to secure your house, your homestead, and the things you can do to improve your security in general. Start with a house. It's not gonna be my greatest sketch ever, folks, so bear with me. Suppose you have like something like that. You have your garage here, right, and you come here and you have like little plants over here and whatnot. House, right? Main point of entry, always the door. It's incredible. Some folks just leave it open, some folks close it, but they have a door that is so easy to break into that it's actually a joke. Doors with windows, glass of some sort, these are pretty common, or they have these windows on the sides as well. You know, just rock or just hitting it with something, just break it and, you know, work your way inside. Now what about the more normal doors? I mean, a solid, let's suppose you have a solid wooden door, and you think, I mean, okay, my door is a solid wooden piece of equipment, it's not going to be easy to break into. Well, actually, yes, it's actually very easy to kick down ordinary doors, unless you have a specific security door. Your door, even if it's wood, even if it's solid, is still the easiest way of entry. Guys, you see it all the time with when police have to, you know, have to go into a place. What is it that they do? They just ram the main door and that's it. A kick in this area on your door, it's going to be breaking the wood, shattering the wood on the door, on the frame. It just breaks. Wood breaks with a kick rather easily, much easier than most people think of. The only way to solve this is actually having a security door. What is a security door? Security door, folks, is steel frame, soldered, and another metal, another steel sheet attached to it. So it's basically a steel sandwich with a steel frame in between, which has a specific lock that it's not easy to pick, and it locks on all four sides, goes into the masonry and into the steel frame of your door. So the door and the frame, it's all steel, all right, and the frame is embedded in the structure itself, which around here is brick and mortar or concrete. So I mean, that's what I talk about. That's what I mean when I say a security door. If you don't have this, your house is pretty much very easy to break into. Just kicking the door down, that's all it needs. Windows, folks. If you have a good door, but the windows are easy to break into, if all you need to do is just break them with a rock, with a stick, whatever it is, it's another entry point as well. What happens is that eventually people start adding burglar bars. At first it's not that common. People are very resilient to them because they do look awful, but in some of the worst parts of US it's already happening. In some of the not so worst parts that used to be actually pretty good, it's already happening as well. I get emails from this stuff often, people telling me that, you know, they're starting to consider burglar bars. They already installed them. Usually they're concerned about fire hazard risks. You know, if I have burglar bars, I'm gonna be getting, you know, burning alive in my house if there's a fire. Well, just, you know, keep a smoke detector, make sure it's in working condition. And yeah, I mean, around here it's a given. People that don't have burglar bars in their windows, they get hit. I mean, it's just like that. It's the way it is. Remember that security, folks, is mostly about being a harder target than the guy next door. All right, if I have this house over here and this one has no burglar bars in his windows, this guy is going to be the one that's going to be getting hit. Okay, so I always want to be less attractive to a criminal than my neighbor. Doesn't sound very good, but I mean, it's the way it is. You making your house less appealing to a criminal will mean that he'll go looking for something else. No house is 100% proof in terms of crime. Any house has a weak point and can be broken into. You can only make it as hard as possible within your means. So securing the entry points, folks. On the other side of your house, if you have this sliding glass doors or a tiny little lock that can be broken with a screwdriver or just pushing hard, guys, criminals do know how to walk around your place, and it's actually preferred because it's out of sight. Okay, it's much better for them to just walk around and check if you left the back door open. It's not always the front door. You know, so any entry point that they can use are going to be using. What about plants and all that stuff. You want to keep that in check, because those can be places where they can hide and then attack you when you arrive home late, and especially at night. Make sure you have good amount of lighting and motion detectors, lights that go on when someone walks by. You want to keep all this area well lit, in your garage door as well. Good illumination here. Don't have plants that provide hiding spaces, hiding spots for them. All these are things you should be keeping in mind as well. So you should have a hard house to break into, an alarm system. Alright, an alarm system in your house, both with a bell on the outside and on the inside, and hopefully connected to the police as well. If you can have a conversation with them, if you live in a small town, that's gonna be much easier, getting in touch with your sheriff and letting them know what you're doing in terms of security. Maybe he can provide a number for your system to call to. These are all things you have to get involved in. So with the bell on the outside, these can be very easily neutralized. I've seen it done with a foam, the cans with expanding foam that then hardens. They just fill it in with that, and it creates a solid mass in the belt, so it doesn't work. But you still have to put it on the outside as well, because it lets the criminal know that you do have an alarm system. Maybe the other one doesn't, guys next to you don't, and your house is again less appealing. Dogs as well. What kind of dog? Do the small little fluffy ones work, and the bigger ones? That's an awful dog. I can't stop myself, folks. It's impossible. So the small yappy little poodle, is that good? Well, surprisingly, it's better than nothing. Some people think, oh, okay, that dog isn't worth anything at all. No, it's not. I mean, it's better than nothing. It's far better than nothing. Criminals don't like dogs. It's just the way it is. They don't like them. Even if it's a small dog, criminals will go for the house that doesn't have one instead. Folks, I'm saying all this not because I'm just running my mouth about things I don't know. I do this for a living. This is what I've been doing for years now. I research, I learn from experience, I gather other people's experience as well. This was a book given to me from some friends from South Africa, actually. Groundbreaking research on house robberies in South Africa. In this book, if you read it, you will find that they say exactly what I'm saying you. That even small dogs, criminals don't like it. If they have even a small dog, they're going to be looking for houses that don't have them. Within a percentage, right? There's a percentage of criminals which, even if you have a small one, will go looking for another one. So I mean, that's what I mean. It's not just me talking BS. It's me actually explaining what I've learned after hours and hours and hours of research. Is it better to have a bigger dog? Of course it is. I mean, this one works. It's even better if you have a big dog that can actually bite and attack your home invader. Okay, I have a friend of mine that has one of these little poodle doggies, and I mean he's well trained in firearms, so that's a good point. The dog just alerts you, and you're the one that puts bullets in anyone that requires them, given the situation. A bigger dog that will attack, that's of course better. It's gonna be sending even a larger percentage of criminals looking for a house that doesn't have a dog. So what dog do I recommend? I like the German Shepherd. I think it's a great dog. I've had one myself. I love it. It's a good breed to work with. The Dogo Argentino is actually great. We know based on experience here that it's the only dog that will it's the dog that will most often attack, even when hurt, even when stabbed and shot. There's cases of doggos that have even killed the people that shot them several times. I know of a case of a dog that attacked a home invader, bit him. this bad guy slammed a hammer in his head several times. The dog later died, but he did achieve the purpose of sending the criminal away. So yet another thing to keep in mind: a dog will help a lot. Alarm system, dog, and having a harder house to be broken into. What about people inside? I mean, we have Mr. Prepper here, we have the missus, we have little kid, and we have this 15-year-old daughter that spends half her life on the cell phone and has an awful signal in her bedroom, so she spends her afternoons sitting here, right, talking with her friends on the cell phone in the front of the property, right? That's gonna be your weakest link in the chain. You know, the group is only as strong as the weakest link, and this is indeed gonna be your weakest link. Even if you're Mr. Superman shooting stuff, whatever it is you do, and you're well trained, you have your firearms, you carry with you concealed all the time, but you have your daughter or your son hanging around all afternoon in the front of your house, that's something to keep in mind as well. It's gonna be your weakest link in your group, right, in your family. So you all have to be on board on all this stuff. It's not just something that you do and then your wife doesn't pay any attention to what you say, or your kids think you're nuts. It's something that you have to have all the family involved. This is all hardware. If the software inside each people's head of the family isn't up to date with what's going on and your interests, it's not going to be working, folks. Again, I'm informed on the things I'm talking about. It's if I'm saying that these concerns may be a problem for you eventually, it's because I've talked with a dozen police officers and sheriffs in US, and they tell me that the crime problem is actually getting worse. Even though statistically and according to what you read on the news, you're supposedly reaching a peak low in crime from the last 50 years or something like that. You know, no wonder when you talk with police officers and you talk with sheriffs and you talk with guys in the law enforcement departments of different states across USA, they all tell me the same thing: crime is getting worse. Alright, folks, crime is indeed getting worse in the US, and you're gonna be seeing more of this and the need for more of these things that I'm talking about. Remember, window of opportunity: when you come with your vehicle, when you arrive your house with your vehicle at night, that's a good moment for a criminal to just pop out of a hiding place, or just pretend to be walking by. As soon as they see you, they hurry up, put a gun to your head, and they have all of you guys inside. These are all things that happen here on a daily basis, so we know it. We know how all this works. That's why we're sharing this information with you folks. So in spite of what you may be seeing on the news, when you talk to police officers, and if you happen to have a friend of yours that is a police officer, do me a favor and ask them as well. You know, I was wondering, how are you seeing things going? Do you see crime getting worse, getting better? All of them that I talked to, they all tell me that crime is indeed getting much worse than it used to be. I get it from emails as well, from people sending me emails because of the blog on daily basis, telling me, Fernando, you know, what you mentioned, it actually happened to a neighbor of mine. That's the breaking point where you say, okay, this isn't anymore something that I read from a guy in Argentina. This is something that is happening in my neighborhood as well, so maybe I should pay attention to some of the things. Some of the things mentioned will be much better than nothing, okay? Work with what you have, work within your possibilities, folks. That's gonna be all for now, guys. Remember, there's a blog full of information for you folks available. I am at the forum as well, so if you have any questions, just drop by, start a thread. Fernando, I have this concern, I have this doubt that I want to check with you, and we'll talk it over. Okay, folks? That's gonna be all for now. Take care and see you on our next video.